Welcome back, friends. Today we're going to do our second lesson on sensory details for our narrative writing. Let's have a quick flashback about what we learned yesterday. Yesterday, we learned about sensory details and how they can make our writing better. Sensory details allows the reader to imagine or visualize what we are writing about. We use sensory details to make sure that our readers are excited and can visualize what the story is talking about. We want to use certain words to really put that picture in their head. Let's go over our target quickly. Our first target is, I can use a graphic organizer to organize my thoughts before writing. So the first thing that we'll do is talk about a graphic organizer and how we can use it to help us organize our writing. Our second target is, I can add sensory details to make my writing more engaging. So we're going to be adding sensory details to make our writing engaging and exciting for the reader to read. Let's have a quick reminder of what sensory details are. Here is this anchor chart that will help us remember words we can use to help us get the reader excited about our writing. So, some details that we can add in. For sight, we can use colors, we can use attributes, we can use shapes, so describing what you're seeing during an event or an experience. And then we also have smell. You want to use words like perfume, flowers, lotions, glue, rotten, garbage. Those are things that you can smell and things that you can describe how something smells in your experience or event that you're talking about. And then we have taste. The taste might be buttery, it might be sweet, it might be cheesy, honey, moldy, salty, or rancid. So these are all words that can describe how something tastes when you eat it. We also have sound. We have cracking, ribbit, oink, rip, music, swish, roaring, chirping, bzz, bzz, or vrr. So these are sounds that you might hear during the event that you're going to add to your writing to make it more exciting and really have your reader visualize what's happening. We also have touch. So something could be soft, gooey, hairy, or sticky. So remember, these are words or details that you can use to make your writing more exciting. So when you are done watching this video, you're going to fill out a graphic organizer. I've split the graphic organizer into different parts of the video so that you can see what you should be doing. The first part of the graphic organizer will be asking you what moment you're going to be writing about. So we're going to choose one to write about, just like we did before. So today you can try to think of where did you go or what did you do. These are two different things that you might want to write about or help you get started. So I chose that last summer I went camping with my family. So that is my moment that I'll be talking about in my personal narrative this week. The next part of the graphic organizer is going to ask you, what did you see? So you're going to be thinking about the different things that you saw during this event or experience. So I'm going to be thinking about the different things I saw during my experience going camping with my family. You can describe colors, shapes, and things around you that you may have saw. And I want you to choose 3. This will give you enough details to help you write your personal narrative first draft. The first thing I saw was green grass. I also saw a bright and blazing campfire. And I saw the sparkling water at the lake. Remember to use these descriptive words like color of green grass or a bright and blazing campfire to describe the things that you saw. You really want to use those interesting words to make the reader visualize what you saw at your event or experience. Next, you're going to think about what you heard. Describe what you heard during this experiment. What did it sound like? So when I thought about my experience when I went camping, I thought about how the woods were quiet, how I heard the birds chirping, and how people were splashing in the water. So these are all details that explain what I heard when I went camping, and I'll be using these in my first draft. And lastly, we're going to talk about what did you smell? Describe the things you smelled during this experience. So when I went camping, I smelled the smoke from the campfire, so it was smoky. I smelled the fresh flowers around me. So I only did 2 for smell because it's a little more tricky. So I expect you to have 2 or 3 things that you smelled during your experience. Now we're going to go to our details and how the order of our details line up. So, what happened first? Think about the first thing that happened during this event or experience. The first thing we did when we got to the campsite was to unpack all of our heavy luggage. Okay. Think about what happened next. Think about the next thing you did. Then we made a campfire to keep warm and make food to eat. So this is the second thing that I remember we did. We dropped off our luggage and then we made a campfire. What happened last? Think about one last detail you want to tell someone about the experience. So I want to tell you guys about at the end of the day, we went swimming in the water. And then we always have to remember our closing sentence. So for this week, when we have our closing sentence and you add it to your outline, I want you to add in what you felt during the experience. How did you feel? So when I think about my experience going camping last summer, I felt happy, fun, and relaxed. So I wrote the sentence, I had a fun and relaxing time camping with my family last summer. All right, let's review our target. We did a lot so far. I can use a graphic organizer to organize my thoughts before writing. So you guys just went through the graphic organizer and how I would write my personal narrative. You guys will be able to fill out a document, a Google document, to answer all these questions. And that'll be our graphic organizer. It'll help you organize your writing before you start. Our second target was, I can add sensory details to my writing to make it more engaging. So you're then going to make sure that those sensory detail questions are answered so you can add it to your writing. So this week we're not only using those 3 details of first then next, we're also adding in sensory details to make our writing more engaging. So now that we've finished our outline or our graphic organizer, we're going to create a first draft. We're going to do this by putting every piece of our graphic organizer together. Here's an example of mine. I'm going to read it aloud. Last summer, I went camping with my family. We arrived to our campsite early in the morning. The first thing we did when we got to the campsite was to unpack all of our heavy luggage. We unpacked it all on the bright green grass around us. Then we decided to make a bright and blazing campfire to keep warm and make food. The campfire filled in the air with a smoky and burning smell. The woods were so quiet I could hear the birds chirping around me. At the end of the day, my family and I went swimming. People were splashing and laughing all around us. I had a fun and relaxing time camping with my family last summer. So I'm going to point out the sensory details I used in my writing. The first one that I used was the bright green grass. This sentence is telling me or showing me what I would have saw at the campsite. I saw the bright green grass. This describes what the campsite looks like. Then I also added bright and blazing campfire to describe what the campfire looked like. I then added in that the campfire filled the air with a smoky and burning smell. So here is a smell sensory detail. I also added in that the woods were so quiet. I could hear the birds chirping. So this is the hearing, what I heard sensory detail. I added these in so that my readers can really picture what it sounds like, what it smells like, and what it looks like at the campsite. So when you are writing, I want you to add at least one of each. One detail about the smell of your event, the sound of the event, and what you saw during the event. These will all help you make your writing more exciting. Remember that we also always add in an introduction sentence, 3 details. So my first detail was the first thing we did when we got to the campsite was to unpack all of our heavy luggage. The second detail was then we decided to make a bright and blazing campfire. And my last detail was at the end of the day, my family and I went swimming. So remember, you need to have at least 3 details. You need to have a hook or an introduction sentence and a closing sentence. And you have to have at least 3 different types of sensory details. So 1 sound, 1 smell, and 1 sight sensory detail, so that your readers can imagine what you experienced during your event you're talking about. Now it is your turn. Fill out the graphic organizer to help you write a personal narrative with sensory details. Then you're going to write your first draft. You'll be having a Google document to be able to fill out the graphic organizer. When you get to the first draft, you can type up the first draft, or you can write your first draft on a piece of paper, send me a picture, and email it to me. All right, friends, you guys got this, and I'm so excited to hear your interesting stories when you add in some sensory details.